On the 7th of July, the long-awaited Speak Now Taylor's version was finally released. And it sounds amazing. The first time I heard it through, I was concerned a little bit that the production on this version took away a little bit of the bite from the original release. But when it comes to re-recordings, I think it's just normal that you need to adjust to listening to a new version of the song because you're so used to those older ones that even like the slight change in the production can trigger you. First, I thought for this video we could just go track by track, but instead I decided to create some fun categories to talk about. So let's start with what I think was one of the biggest shocks to everybody, the Better Than Revenge lyric change. Before the album actually released, some people on TikTok had already figured out that there was gonna be a change. They didn't know what it was, but they noticed that when they searched the lyrics on, I think it was Apple Music, and they realized that as you typed the lyrics for certain lyrics, the song would disappear. And they were able to see that something had changed. So everyone was super nervous to hear this upon the release. And I have to say, this was the first song I went to when the album dropped. So the iconic, catchy line, "She's better known for the things that she does on the mattress," has now been replaced with the less misogynistic, but also less catchy, "He was a moth to the flame, she was holding the matches." Let's be real, it is a little bit of a handful to say that. So of course there's been a lot of controversy about this lyric change. Overall, I do find it less catchy than the original, but I actually still think it's a good lyric and I do like it. More importantly, if she finds that this lyric is more aligned with her beliefs, then I think it's good that she changed this. She has grown up in the spotlight. Her dating life has always been a subject of conversation for the media. So if she wants to take a stance on that and say, hey, I will not do what the media did to me with my music, then I'm totally for it. I will miss the old version, but I have been listening to the new version regardless. And I'm super curious to hear what you guys thought about that lyric change, because I think some people were full on saying I won't listen to the new version, but I also suspect that while at first people might be against it, it will just grow on them. Our next category is RIP The Breath. The breath being the breath on Last Kiss. Some fans notice that the re-release does not include this breath that she takes in the original release of Last Kiss. It happens about 4 minutes and 18 seconds into the song. Taylor sings "I hope it's nice where you are" and then kind of takes a deep breath.
Hope it's nice where you are. Hope it's nice where you are.
There's been a few memes mourning it. To me personally, it wasn't something like that change in lyrics. It didn't really affect me that it's not there anymore. But some people did think that the breath added a lot of emotion to the song, and so without it, they feel like it's kind of lacking that pain. What do you guys think? Our next category are songs that I feel the most upgraded, because I'm all about keeping things positive, so I'm not just gonna criticize what I missed or what was changed. So there are two songs that I think overall sounded way more rounded and more complete. The first being Back to December. The first time I heard the re-release of Back to December, it was just really refreshing because it felt a lot more fuller than some of the other tracks I had already heard. And like I said, I didn't listen in order, so I had already heard a few other tracks before. And I just think the production actually worked really well in this song, and Taylor's more mature voice also adds to that feeling of like looking back on a relationship. The second song that I also felt got kind of an upgrade was Long Live, because I guess for her singing this now, it has even more meaning than it probably did back then. And I feel like I can really hear those emotions of like her legacy and her life being brought together. So between those two, I do think Long Live feels the most upgraded for me. Now, on the other hand, we do get to the negative parts, songs that I will mourn the most. Maybe the word mourn is a little bit dramatic, but we are Swifties, so it's almost like, what do you expect? I'm curious as to which songs you guys are mourning, because I'm sure that there are some. And again, I picked two songs that I feel like I'll always miss the original version. The first one is Enchanted, but it's like I talked about earlier, I have heard Enchanted so many times in its original version that I think it's also just hard for me to adjust to the new one. Probably for me is just getting used to the new production and Taylor's more mature vocals on this song. Don't get me wrong, I really do like the new version and her more mature vocals on it, but I do feel like this particular song works better with like more innocent vocals, if that makes sense. The second song is Haunted. I feel like the sense of urgency that was in the original release of the song is not really there in the re-release, but I'm actually not pinning it at all on the vocals. I think it's more on a production level. I think the bridge still builds up pretty nicely, but I miss a bit of the pain that you could hear in the original, especially on the choruses. And now I want to talk about the vault tracks. My favorite vault track has to be Electric Touch. I love Fall Out Boy, so I was really excited for this collaboration. I was hoping the track would be a little more pop punk, but even though it wasn't, I still think it was a great collaboration, and I really love Patrick Stump's vocals. Speaking of loving Fall Out Boy, I also grew up listening to Paramore. So now we have a collaboration between Taylor and Hiiiiiii, which is amazing. I really love this song, and I have to say probably is my second favorite from the Vault tracks. But I do have to say that Hiiiiii's vocal abilities didn't really shine in this song. It's not that she didn't sound good, but it's more that I know that she can do a lot more with her voice, so I guess I was hoping there was gonna be some like belts or some like really intense build-up or something. Of course, this is just not the type of song for that, but otherwise really loving this song. Lyrically, it kind of sounds like something out of Reputation, right? Now let's talk about the leading single, I Can See You. I think this was the best choice for a Vault track single. The song is really catchy. It has these like sexy elements to it that make people think like, okay, this is why this wasn't released before. And also I guess it doesn't fully fit the ambience of the original album. And this is actually probably my third favorite track on the Vault tracks. And since I've already given you my top 3, I might as well finish ranking the rest of them. In 4th place, I would put When Emma Falls in Love. I think this is actually a fan favorite. I expect on more people's lists this would be further up. It's a really pretty song, also rumored to be about Emma Stone. In 5th place, I'd go with The Foolish One. I think that's a song that we can all relate to some extent. And finally, we have Timeless. I also really like this track and how it builds up, but from the other Vault tracks, this one stood out the least. I'm curious what your favorite Vault tracks are. And that is it for this video. I'm so happy that we finally got Speak Now Taylor's version. Overall, I have really enjoyed listening to these tracks with Taylor's more mature voice. I feel like that really gives it a more special feeling. When this version of the album was released, it got 126 million streams on Spotify just on its opening day. It broke the record for the most single day streams for any album in 2023 and for a country album ever. It has also become the second most streamed album by a female artist in a single day, just behind from the first place, which is Midnights. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really looking forward to hear all your opinions about basically everything Speak Now. What did you think about the change in lyrics in Better Than Revenge? What are your favorite Vault tracks? Which songs do you think sound like they were improved? Which ones do you miss? Just everything. So thanks again, and I really hope to see you all in my next video. Bye!